Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is Wednesday. It is May 17th. I am Gene FitzMagic, joined by Abby, Matt, and Caleb. What's up, fellas? And young ladies. And young ladies.
I'm assuming my gender.
Dudes and dudettes. Hey, Matt, I'm actually up $10 now.
Yeah, I know. Fucking. Because you guys keep stealing signs.
Well,
you fucks.
You know what, Pat? There we go, Patty. Patty, you want to show that video real quick where they complaining about? I know we don't talk too much baseball today. We'll talk some baseball on Friday when Matt's not even going to be able to hear for me to talk about the sweep that we're about to have. But Patty's got a video too where they were complaining like little babies, Blue Jay announcers. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. It looked fishy, but I think what it was I think Kirk was just putting his. I think he was giving away his signs too early.
Well, I mean, he also could have been looking over at the first base coach to see like what maybe there was a sign.
Oh no, that was not at the first base coach. That was at the dugout.
You know, maybe he's looking for signs. But listen, we're walloping you guys this series so far. Yeah, so I don't blame you for being a little upset and a little nervous that this is how it's going to go for the rest of the season for you guys.
No. We're going to take one to Cole. We're going to take one to Cole today.
I'm about to go up $20, my man. I got Cole pitching on the mound tonight. I'm about to go $20. All right. But you know what? We do have a special guest in the house. It's actually I'm gonna let Matt introduce him because it's Matt's boy from Turner and Hooch. Should we bring him in first? Should we bring him in right away?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. Should we make him wait?
Oh, fuck him. Make him wait. Nah, bring him in.
I'm bringing in another Canadian, so I apologize to the people who aren't friendly to the Canadians, but we are on this show. Let's bring in our friend. Go ahead. Patty jumped the gun.
Should I put my hand behind my head like Matt's photo in the intro?
Yeah.
What is that, man? What? Matt, what? That made me feel deeply uncomfortable. I don't know why.
That's kind of my vibe. I didn't pick the photos for the thing.
The photographer said just act douchey. We'll do the rest of the work. Matt, Brandon, you know Matt. This is Caleeb Pinkett to your right, and above you is Abby.
Yeah, Abby.
Brandon McLaren, who played one of my favorite characters in Turner and Hooch. Actually, he was definitely my favorite character. Matt was probably he made the top 10. Matt made the top 10.
Xavier was my favorite character.
And then also plays at the same time on TV is playing the antagonist on two pretty good shows. The Rookie as Elijah Stone, which is as cold-blooded as it gets, and Buckley on Snowfall, which just recently ended its run. So I'm going to start there. What was it like to be part of such an iconic series, especially towards the end, and being such a big part of really what went down in the end?
You talking about Snowfall?
Yeah.
Wait, whoa, hold on. Oh, yeah. No spoilers.
No.
Matt's.
I'm getting
your good
there.
friend Matt's not caught up. He should be. Listen, Matt, your good friend here, he's not even caught up. I had to tell him where to find the show.
It's true. I didn't know it was on Disney, but in Canada it's on Disney. Sorry, Brando.
Sorry, what was the question, Gene? Sorry.
So, what was it like being part of this iconic series, especially towards the end? And again, you don't have to go into spoiler alerts, but
yeah. Man, I'm gonna tell you, man. Like it's like without trying to avoid sounding corny, it's like legit a dream come true. Because it's John Singleton, those Boys in the Hood. You know what I mean? And like I remember watching that as a kid, and then like cut to 20 years later, I'm working on his show in LA. A lot of the same elements from Boys in the Hood. You can tell it. He's taken it and put it in Snowfall. And we were at the premiere in LA for the season 6 premiere, and they did a whole tribute to John Singleton and his work. And those are like those rare moments, man, in your career where you're like, you're sitting down and like there's all these people there and they're doing a tribute to John Singleton at the Motion Picture Museum. And you look around, and you're like, shit, like this is kind of like, yo, I don't know if like 20 years ago, Brandon would have ever thought I'd be here. You know what I mean? Being a part of some with this kind of, this level of people. So like I said, like trying to avoid sounding corny, man, kind of a dream come true. And I got to tell you, like when I first got the part, I didn't really watch Snowfall. So my agent was like, Brandon, this show is great. So I started to watch it season 1. And I think I watched the first season. I had to stop because I was like, these motherfuckers are good. You know what I mean? And I was like, I need to stop and have like a 3-week break before I start working on the show because I'm starting to get a little shook. And also like, I'm the type, I'm going to start like trying to steal what other people do that's like, that I think is cool. And I didn't want to do that. So yeah, man, it was a really, really dope experience.
So what's it like preparing for a role like this? Because I interviewed you before. I got to know you a little bit. I follow you on Instagram. So I know that these roles are nothing like Elijah Stone and whatnot. It's nothing like the real Brandon McLaren. So what's it like prepping for these kinds of roles where you really have to be like really just cold-hearted and just
for Buckley, man, you just got to smoke a lot of crack, bro. Like, I think that's what I just leaned into. I was like, what's the difference between me and Buck? Crack.
I do that for every role.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, I think Buckley too, man, like the fact that like I got to wear a wig, like that kind of informed like
that was a killer fro, man. It was a killer fro.
Yeah, that was like ground floor, you know what I mean? And they almost like didn't cast me. So like they cast me looking like this. And then after I got cast, after we signed the deal, I went for a wardrobe fitting. They called my agent. They're like, yo, can he cut his hair? And I was already on Rookie. So I was already been established with my hair. So he's like, nah, dude, like, you can't do that in the 11th hour. So I had to go in, do multiple wig fittings. Thank goodness, because like, you know how this goes, Matt. Like a lot of times if they can't, they'll just recast somebody.
Yeah.
They're not going to wig somebody. It's like, we'll just find somebody without dreads for the role.
Yeah.
That takes place in 1986. But yeah, for Buckley, like, I don't know, man. Like he's such an insecure character. And I think that's like kind of where I was trying to play him as. Like he wanted so bad to have power. He wanted so bad to like have a voice. And he didn't have a voice at the police department and he didn't have a voice in the streets. He was kind of in this sort of like limbo. And so I wanted to sort of like dig into that like deep insecurity about how, he just wanted to be heard. So that's kind of where I came from with Buckley.
It's like you were two police for the streets and you were two streets for the police. And it was like
exactly.
you were kind of in that zone where it was like, how do you establish it's like being a mixed race child. Like you might not feel accepted in either one because you're not white enough to be white, you're not black enough to be black.
And so you know what? Like the police were using him and the streets were using him, like, in inverse ways, you know what I mean? And he was really sort of this middleman between those two worlds, and he kind of didn't really have a home for himself. And I think that's like kind of like, sort of what like kind of led to like this deep addiction that he had. You know what I mean?
I get you. Do you have any embarrassing stories of Matt on turn? I'll let you ask the next question. All right. You go first, Matt.
First of all, this is more of an observation. You get this really fucking sick line read when you're like, of course I can. I'm the fucking police.
Yeah.
That was sick. When that happened, I was watching. I think I texted you. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I enjoyed saying that line so much.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then there's one other moment I was like, oh, that is so sick. When like you raid when the projects get raided. And like, who the fuck would do this? And then there's that slow-mo and the beat comes up. And you kind of walk through. It's like, oh man. Okay, but my question is this. I'll stop fanboying out for a sec. So you were doing Rookie and Snowfall at the same time.
Yeah.
Was it easy to kind of jump between characters, or was it kind of refreshing to switch it up, or was it just you had enough time in between that it wasn't something that bothered you or affected you?
You know what? The first season 5 of the Rookie, season 4 of the Rookie and season 5 of Snowfall I was doing the same time, and then they had the same hiatus. And then they came back for subsequent seasons, and it was again the same time. I think on the second go around, it was harder because I had to sort of like refine those people after like a 6-month hiatus.
Yeah.
And I found that kind of difficult. But initially, I mean, I think the scheduling was really difficult because it was like always like, oh, like he's not available this day, he's not available that day. And like when you're trying to when you're just trying to have them like write you into more episodes, like, you know what I mean? You're just like, I just want to show up and do the best job I can. So keep writing for me. And so I definitely felt that type of pressure, being like, shit, like, I don't know if I have enough time to prep for either of them and do a great job at either. You know what I mean? I just wanted to make sure like I wasn't like doing an average job at both. So yeah, that was that. It wasn't like I wouldn't recommend it, is what I would say.
Yeah, sure. But one thing I do love about, I mean, you really nailed you brought it up earlier. You nailed the Buckley's insecure, and you can tell that he wants power, and he sees the money that he could make, kind of doing on the living in the gray areas. But that's the one thing I love about Snowfall, the show. It's kind of reminiscent for me of like Breaking Bad and The Wire, where there's like not really black or white. It's like everyone's in the kind of gray area. And if someone came up to me and said, fucking, I hate Franklin Saint, I want him to die, it's like, yeah, I get it. But if someone said, I love Franklin, I want to see him win, it's like, yeah, I get it. Because there's times it's like, oh, he's gone too far, and then it's like, man, I don't know. I'm kind of
good. Sometimes it's just like good people making poor choices.
Exactly.
And then what happens is if those good people keep making poor choices, eventually like the body of choice, the work would be, oh well, like that must make me think you're a bad person. You know what I mean? I feel like you can get away with making 1 or 2 bad choices if you're a good person. But if that becomes like if you just keep making poor choices, maybe you're shitty. You know what I mean? But you're right. They do all live in the gray area because I think a lot of their poor choices are justified in like real need and real want. You know what I mean? And you can't hold that against somebody.
Yeah. I think that's a good point too, because I know a lot of people try to look at Franklin Saint like he was the bad guy, like he was like the major antagonist. I actually felt bad for him because the people that he helped along the way, whether he was doing the right thing or the wrong thing, he was obviously a drug dealer, so he wasn't doing the right things, I guess, in life, right? But he still put all these other people on, like Louis, and Louis just totally disregarded that and was like, no, I went on my own.
And I mean, Teddy, like Teddy was just like,
you couldn't trust Teddy as far as you could.
No, I think he might have been the most nefarious character in the whole. Because that was just pure greed and power. Like
he just used people for as much as he could, and that was
under the guise of doing it for God and country. So I think he if you ask me, he's like the most nefarious person in the whole show because he's just out for himself, like from jump.
Yeah, and I thought, and it's funny too because I was like, at one point, I'm like, oh, they kind of have like a nice relationship. I wonder if they're gonna I kind of like the Franklin Teddy vibe for a while, and then it's like, oh, Teddy is he's just the fucking he did his one thing he cares about. That's it.
Yep. And doesn't care about the collateral damage. It's not his problem.
He'll do anything, and it's like, he really is like. Yeah, I mean, he just, I'm not going to say it, but he just fucked over Franklin pretty brutal to the point. Like, Franklin's done some shit where I'm like, oh, man, you're probably in trouble now. But then Teddy fucked over Franklin. I was like, oh, no, brutal. And then now I'm back on Franklin's side because it's like, give him some of it back.
Also, that's like a mark of a great show. You know what I mean? Where you oscillate back and forth, being like, oh, no, I'm team that. Oh, no, I'm team that.
And they do it in a good way. They don't do it in a cheesy way. Like, a lot of shows do it, but they do it in a cheesy way. Right. You guys do it, and it still all makes sense. You know what I mean? Where you guys had done it. And I think the one character that I think I liked throughout all of it was Oso's character, Gustavo. I think he's a character that, regardless if you agree with what his lifestyle choice is as far as being a drug dealer, he's the only one that I feel sticks to his code the whole way through into the end. And so he's actually been, I think, my favorite character out of the whole series. Was Gustavo,
and also like a character I feel like often gets glossed over. You know what I mean?
He does, and that's
there's so many other great characters that he kind of in a weird way forget about that whole character sometimes, but really he does a really great job.
Because you know why he's like strong and he's like the strong silent type, and he's always right there. And I think because they always try to bring in something flashy here and there. Even like your character kind of comes and steals the show for a little bit in the first season that you end up there.
Comes in hot.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought I was gonna die. Like I was like, "There's no way a character could come in this reckless."
Yeah, and I messaged you when it was the episode where I think it's where, and I don't want to say what happens, but something really, I think it was the first episode of season 5, or it was like right, or I think it was like right there, whatever it was. It was the first. I think it was the first episode of the last season.
Yeah.
And I said, "Wow!" I was like, I thought I love the I'm blanking on the character Jerome. I love the Jerome character up until now, and I'm like, what a scumbag. And you were like, you have seen nothing yet. And sure enough, it just gets worse and worse with what you and Jerome do. Mm-hmm. So if whoever's not caught up to the show, Matt included, Matt, nice job. But get yourself caught up. It's a great show. The only bad part about getting caught up is it's now over and that's it. Although there is a spinoff coming, which is about the rap game, so we'll get to see that too.
That should be very cool. Huh?
That's cool.
Yeah, so I guess the spinoff is gonna follow. What's the character's name?
With the tapes, yeah. That kid?
No, the girl. She was the one that was the crackhead earlier, and then
Wanda?
She cleaned up. Wanda.
Yeah. So it's gonna be about how all these. I think it's gonna take place in the early '90s. And how all these guys with all this drug money, like in LA, turned it into making record labels, and so they started gangster rap.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that's gonna be. I mean, I could like just the premise. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. And maybe Buckley might. Maybe we get a Buckley appearance. You never know.
Buckley lives, man.
Buckley's fun. I was waiting for something like an ending in some way. Oh yeah, wait. Sorry. You know what, Ben? It's their fault. It's their fault. They haven't caught up.
Yeah. Do your research before you come and do an interview, man. Come in prepared, Matt.
Fair.
So, what do we got coming up next for Brandon McLaren?
Well, there's a couple things brewing right now. Hopefully to hear about in the next couple of days, but but nothing is confirmed yet, so I can't say. But in the meantime, I mean, I know Rookie's coming back, and I think Elijah's meant to come back in the new season, but with the strike and all, I'm not sure when that's going to shoot. I know we were supposed to start shooting again June 19th, but that's not going to happen. So it's a kind of a weird time, you know what I mean, in terms of stuff down here. And I don't know, Matt, like what's happening up in Canada? Like the WGC is still going on, right? Or
no? I mean, they had a bunch of stuff in the hopper. They put a bunch of shit in pre-pro to before the strike.
Yeah.
So that shit's kind of going on right now, but it's a lot of like MOW stuff where you don't necessarily need to rewrite, I guess, because
right,
it's putting lipstick on a piece of shit, but
still smells.
Yeah, it still smells. There's some stuff, but they're like I just tape I'm up for something that shoots in like June also, and I'm like, right. I don't know how that, like I feel like they're hoping it's going to be done by the time it starts, but I just don't see.
Yeah. I don't see that either. Possible. Yeah.
So now my career sunk so low. I'm doing podcasts, interviewing you.
Wow. Is this rock bottom for you, Matt? Is this what you're trying to say?
Hey, listen, Brandon, I've had a couple, so it's hard to gauge.
So
rock bottom rock bottom is a sports pick team. That's a sports team pick. That's his rock bottom. His Blue Jays and his Leafs. Those are his rock bottoms.
Yeah. Those are some good rock bottoms.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So, but Brandon, man, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be in touch with you when Rookie comes back. Let's have you back on for next season when Rookie comes back.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think Elijah is supposed to come back, and hopefully the strike will be over soon, and we can get on with the business of making television.
There we go. Hopefully it settles for everybody. Like especially there's the cast, the crew and stuff. They're the ones that I really we feel for most. They're the ones that are really missing out right now. So
man, I'm gonna go pick it with Matt Nix and Horowitz tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I
was talking to Mike the other day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go meet them at 10 tomorrow to do a little picketing. So I'll send you a selfie.
Oh, Matt, please do.
Matt, maybe you should be doing some picketing too. Stand up for the cause.
Yeah, man. No, there's no one picketing in Vancouver. There's no studios here. No one cares.
They're too nice in Vancouver and Canada. Yeah. They're like, we get it. We'll wait. Let's just wait. But you know what? But Brandon, thank you so much for stopping by. We're gonna have you back soon. Guys, go check out Snowfall if you haven't yet. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's a great show. Sick. And go check out Elijah Stone, who is one of my favorite gangsters in all of TV. Is so vicious and cool at the same time. Make sure you go check it out. Brandon, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate y'all. Matt, I love you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise, brother. See you soon.
So we're gonna take an early commercial break. We'll come right back. Pat, we only need one commercial. We'll come back. We'll get right into our sports segments.
Happiness is addictive. Passionate about spreading laughter and creating smiles worldwide. Happiness is addictive. brings our global community together through humor, optimism, cheer, hopefulness, and merriment. Happiness is addictive. Happiness is addictive.
All right, we're back, and Kay will be back with us in a second. So, guys, big playoff game yesterday. Looked like it was going to be a blowout. Turned out not to be a blowout. Denver took it 132-126. AD played well, man. 40 points, 10 boards, 14 of 23. LeBron, 26, 12, and 9. Almost had himself a triple-double. Austin Reeves, as Caleb affectionately calls Austin Powers, big game. 5 for 9 from three-point range, 23 points.
Huge in the fourth quarter.
Huge. And you know who else was huge in the fourth quarter? And I want to talk about this is Hachimura played. He finally shut Jokic down. Now, going forward, I guess my question is this. They were getting blown out, played a lot better in the second half. Was that Denver taking the foot off the pedal? Or was that the Lakers figuring out what they needed to do to kind of defend Jokic and take over the game? Caleb, I'll start with you.
No, I think it was a little bit of all of those things, right? Because Jokic was so dominant in the first, and the Lakers have to be choosy about who they put on him because they can't put Hachimura on him from the beginning because he's going to be fouled out, right? So you gotta switch defenders, and they were seeing who guards him better. You can't stop him, but some are more. They bother him more than others, right? So putting Hachimura on him, AD can't guard him because you don't want AD to possibly get injured, taking a shoulder and dislocating his sternum or something like that, or a clavicle getting hit. But I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean. But like they can't afford for AD to be in foul trouble or potentially get injured with something like that. Also, Hachimura is an offensive weapon, so they don't want to put him in foul trouble either. Because if he's out the game, it's bad for them. Austin Powers, who I love, he had 11 points in the fourth quarter, but I don't know if I don't think he'll do that again on Thursday. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers need the people to step up at different times. So it's gonna be really interesting. I said it before. I think in order for the Lakers to have a shot, they have to stop Jamal Murray, which they did not do yesterday. No. He was hitting threes. He was getting his shots. Like they can't allow that. If that happens, it's a wrap. They're gonna lose. So I think, like I said, I think it was a little bit of everything. I also think the altitude was a little rough for the Lakers at first. That's why they were getting blown out like that. They were like, because they felt sluggish. They felt slow. And I know the nightlife in Denver ain't that good, right? So you ain't went out kicking it too much like you would in Miami or something like that, or Toronto. You know what I mean? So it was a little. I think it was the altitude, but they got themselves accustomed to it and were able to start playing. And I think it's gonna be a chess match in the bodies they throw at Jokic and the different looks that they give him. You know what I mean? Because I don't think you can stop him, but you can definitely bother him. And I think the focus should be Jamal Murray, like shut him down. And I think they'll have a way better chance of beating the Nuggets. But this is going to be a good series. I picked the Lakers in 6. I'm gonna see, because if Denver wins Thursday, tragedy. I would be wrong because I highly would doubt the Lakers could win 4 in a row on them. You know what I mean? So it's gonna get interesting. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this series. I really am.
Yesterday definitely held. Like I said, it was a slow start as far as being a competitive game, but it turned into one. They brought it within 3 points, I believe, at the end of that game. Anyway, and had a shot. I think LeBron missed that 3-point shot that would have tied it. But I'll tell you what, we talked about it before the game, how much LeBron would probably be a big mismatch, and he was. It wasn't really like he instead of taking a lot of shots, he just dished off a lot. I thought he played well as being almost being like a deception player. I thought he played well. Obviously, almost 1 assist away from a triple double. So obviously. And I'll give them credit. They did guard Murray. He just hit shots with hands in his face. Like he hit some shots that he had no business hitting. So I don't know if
Jokic hit shots he had no business.
Well, they both.
You see that shot he hit over AD?
There was 2 of them. AD just looked down and
And Jokic said.
But there's also the one that that Murray hit with LeBron right in his face, and LeBron gave him a thumbs up. I don't know if you saw that. LeBron was like,
yeah,
he gave a thumbs up. So I mean, they both were hitting shots that they had no business hitting. It was almost like
I would expect Murray to hit it. He's a guard, but not Jokic from 40.
Yeah, he took that from way down.
You know what I mean? Like I was like, yo, when I saw that, I hit my boy who's a diehard Lakers fan. I said, I think Jokic might be the best player in the world right now. He just responded with all the middle finger emojis across the screen.
It's a good point because he might be. Yesterday was his 6th triple-double. And this just in these playoffs alone. Forget about what he's done in other playoffs, but in these playoffs alone, he's had 6 triple-doubles. Abby, how do we stop him? Is it going to be just a heavy dose of Hachimura? I mean, he was the only one that could stop him in any significant kind of way yesterday. Or is it one of those things where you just worry about everybody else and just let him roll?
Well, let me first start off by saying this is really hard series for me to watch simply because
it's like watching your ex get remarried. It's like watching your ex get remarried.
Yeah, and then I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Growing up in Phoenix, like you just learn to hate all of the LA teams. Sorry, Caleb. Like we just hate them all. It don't matter, Clippers, whatever. Once you start getting into the Northern California teams, that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's just gonna. I just think they're gonna need to stop the Joker basically the whole time. Honestly, it was so crazy because I mean, just Hachimura just came out like dominant. You know what I mean? So honestly, but you're right, Caleb. I think it was Caleb who was saying that you're gonna need to. He can't be playing the whole time. You can't have him on him the entire time. But honestly, Murray just had a game. Honestly, the whole starting lineup had a game.
Yeah.
I mean, they all were double digits as far as points. And Aaron Gordon, again, all over the place. He had a huge dunk. I want to say it was sometime in the second half. Just he tossed it up. And just, slammed it right down the face. So it's going to be a fun series to watch. I personally want Denver simply because I'd rather have the Suns lose to a potential championship team to make it somewhat better. And I just can't stand the Lakers. So
I'm rooting for I'm rooting for the Lakers, but I have Denver winning in 7, but I am rooting for the Lakers. I you know what, as much as LeBron has upset me throughout his career with what spurning the Knicks a couple of times, moving around. I have a lot of respect for things that he's done on and off the court, and I would love to see him just get another crack at the finals. Plus, you know what? I'd love to see that Celtics Laker finals again. Like that happened to it seemed like almost every other year in the 80s. Matt, what does LA need to do to get on top of a game?
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like this has the same feeling as remember that game 1 against Golden State a couple years ago. LeBron had 51. J.R. Smith forgot to score, and then they lost the game instead of winning that game. And then that whole series changed then. And listen, there's still a good chance that, Golden State was probably going to win that series anyways, no matter what. But, you take one on the road after a huge game like LeBron, that maybe changes the vibe of the series. Instead, the vibe was we had a missed opportunity. I kind of feel like similar because they were kind of getting smoked, and then they had a huge comeback. And like you said, Hachimura was good on Jokic, and it was like, oh, okay. Here we go. And then they fumbled a couple of possessions down the stretch. LeBron had a couple of possessions on the stretch. You're like, but I don't know. Oh, man, I don't know. I think the way the offense runs through Jokic, how he gets everybody involved, everyone gets to touch. Like it's going to be so hard for the Lakers to win 4 games, I think, because they need everyone kind of popping. And like they had some good performances tonight, but D'Angelo Russell was a fucking no-show.
Yeah.
And that sucks when that happens. And I feel like on Denver, they have less no-shows on a consistent.
I feel like, I think they both could be pretty deep at times, right? But I feel like.
The Lakers did shoot well from 3, which is.
Yeah, they did. They did.
They have to keep that going.
But but you're right though. If they get an average game out of D'Angelo Russell, then
17 and 7.
I don't. Did he have 7 points? I thought he had less. I thought he had maybe.
No, I said if you can get that.
Oh, yeah. What did he end up finishing with? I think it was 8, right?
Yeah, but if you can get him like 17 points, 7 assists, he doesn't have to be the main focus, but it's like, oh, he's somebody you have to worry about. But Caleeb knows watching Russell that this happens sometimes with him.
Yeah, he disappears at times.
He was a minus 25.
And to be honest,
no one else was in double digits minus in that game. That's not great.
No, not at all. And to be honest, AD's due for his no-show game.
Yep.
Yeah.
He always follows up a big game with a 12-pointer.
Yeah.
This could be a problem.
Yeah, he's got
a problem.
If you look at what he's done, so he's 31, then 16, 30, then 11, 25. Well, then he had a couple of 20s in a row, but then he had 17. Now he had 40. So look, if you look at it, if you go by what he's done, he's due for like a 12, 14-point game at this point.
Absolutely, and the Lakers can't have that. They would need one of the Austin Powers or D'Lo or actually all three of them and Hachimura all to have 20.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean.
Which is possible. It is possible. They,
it's possible
because those guys,
but it's not likely.
But it's not likely. No,
that's not what happens. Traditionally, that's not what happens with that team. One of them shows up. Like what was the guy that showed up against Golden State? LeBron and AD was so happy.
Lonnie Walker had a series.
Where's he been since then?
No, he had a couple of good games, and that was it.
He didn't do nothing yesterday. You see what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's not consistent.
That's the only thing. Yeah. So they are deep, but they're not as consistent as you'd like. But one or two of them are always going to have a decent game. What you need sometimes you need four.
Moore is always decent.
And he can always hit from the outside. He's always got that.
But sometimes my boy Austin Powers loses his mojo, and he don't even show up. Like
he's an enigma, man. He's an enigma. Sometimes he looks like the undrafted free agent that he was, and sometimes he looks like the second coming of Mark Price off the bench. Do you know what I mean? So it really it's feast or famine with him. You're either going to get a nice 25-point game or you're going to get a 6-point game. You just kind of got to roll with it. And
that sucks. So
it does.
We shall see, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
All right, so let's move on to the Miami Heat versus Boston series. Let's preview that series.
Yeah.
I think we're all excited about this series just because who knows what could happen, right? Celtics looked off at times against the 76ers. The Heat have looked amazing, like world beaters pretty much throughout the whole playoff series. What's funny is when they knocked off the Bucks, every city in the Eastern Conference that still had a team alive was like, oh, we have a chance to get to the finals. We have a chance to get to the finals. Because they looked at it like the Heat weren't really going to be enough competition with the Bucks out. Yeah. And the Bucks are laughing all the way to the bank. And you know what? If Nigel was here, I'd shout out Nigel because he called it. They are Hydra from Marvel. And let me give him a shout out too because he got to watch the Game 7. He got to watch Game 7 Philly, Boston in the famous Cheers bar in Boston. He was down in the U.S.
Oh wow!
So he got to watch that. From there, I'm like, does everybody know your name? He's like, by the end of the game, they will. So I'm assuming he was. I don't know who he was rooting for, but I'm sure he was making some noise. So shout out to Nigel. He'll be back next week. So let's preview this series a little bit. 3 out of the 4 Eastern Conference matchups we've had Boston, Miami. What are we expecting this series, Caleeb?
A bunch of up and downs. Boston is not consistent either. That's their issue as a team. And they should be because they've been together for a long time. There should be synergy. They should be able to do the old Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison. Dating myself right there. Some of y'all may know that Euro. But they said Peyton Manning could throw in the dark and Harrison would just know where to go and the ball would meet him. Like that type of chemistry is what Boston should be having. But they do not. They are completely inconsistent. And I think Miami has a really good shot of beating them, and they shouldn't at all. You know what I mean? But they do because of Boston's inconsistency. So I'm looking forward to it. I am a Tatum fan. I want to see Tatum get through this. I want to see him prove everybody wrong. But but in history, he doesn't. He traditionally doesn't. And so it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out of this. But I'm telling you, if Denver beats the Lakers, which it looks like they will, nobody can stop. Miami nor Boston has an answer for the Joker, like none. And so it's looking like Jokic might get his first ringage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
for real.
100%. Now, the one thing that I think, as far as matchup wise, is the Heat play a lot of zone defense, and that is what's kind of hurt the Celtics this year in the regular season, the postseason. When they go up against zone, they seem to have a hard time. And here's another fun little fact. I saw this morning. I'm like, that can't be true, but it really is. Love is 14-0 in the postseason series. The postseason series he's 14-0. Every time he's gone into the playoffs, his team's gone all the way to the finals. This is excluding the finals. We're just talking about Eastern Conference series, not championship series. Eastern Conference series. He's 14-0. Kevin Love. That's pretty amazing.
Are you gonna act like it's because of Kevin Love? So
no, I get it.
Is that what we're doing right now?
I get it because of LeBron James. I get it because of listen.
You want to know something?
It's still impressive.
Even if Mark Madsen with 2 back-to-back championship rings because he was on the Lakers when Kobe was there.
That's a good point. And there's also a lot of guys on the Heat, those Heat teams that won a couple of championships that had no business.
It's like
so
when you
in the right place at the right time.
Love hasn't been a contributing major factor
for a few years
for a long time now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
but there's something nice to say when you got that mojo, right? I'm all about superstition and luck and everything else. And so I try to take as many of the positives.
Hey, look, it's on his resume. So you got to say it. I'm just saying, let's not act like.
I guess did Robert Horry won 7 rings in game ones?
I get it.
Huh? Say it, Matt.
Did you say he's 14-0 in game ones?
No, he's 14. His teams are 14-0 in playoff series in the Eastern Conference. He's never lost the
Eastern Conference side.
He's never lost the Eastern Conference series.
Gotcha.
He's 14-0. 12 of which he played in, 2 he was hurt for. I think it was in 2015.
And he gets credit for
I get it. Robert Horry has a million rings, and I get it. He was just a three-point shooter on those teams. I get it. But it's still you got
I get it. You got to give it to him.
So there's that. So Abby, what's your take on this series?
I think it's going to come down to a matter of who's going to guard Jason Tatum. Obviously, he's coming off a huge game. 51 points.
Can you keep that up though?
No, they're like Caleeb said, they're so inconsistent. I honestly think none of these teams can beat any of the Western Conference teams, to be really quite honestly. And then I'm even surprised that the Celtics pulled it out. To be honest, I think the Sixers just kind of blew it. But honestly, too, it's good that Miami's coming off of a good rest for especially their veteran players, because we still don't know what's going on with Jimmy's ankle. It's still kind of like a day-to-day thing. He seems fine, but he's going to definitely need some rest during the games and things like that. So, and Kyle Lowry, too, he's a veteran player. He still needs it's just great that they have a lot of rest before they started playing this game 1. But I'm pulling for the Heat, honestly, just because I really didn't expect them to be there. I didn't expect them to do much. I didn't expect them to bounce right away, but the fact that they've gotten where they are, and I like Jimmy Buckets. He's great. He plays with a lot of heart, and they're playing gritty right now, and they just need to keep that up.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? What's your take on the series?
I feel like I don't know what the fuck to do with Miami. Every series, I'm like, they're gonna get smoked, and they've won so far. Like they barely made they lost the first play-in game. Like
I know
what. So I don't know. Like I think it's Boston's to lose.
Yes, without question.
But I can't put it. I couldn't. You said Boston sweeps, I'd be like, yeah. If you told me Heat win in 5, I'd be like, yeah, I have no idea. None. 0. I know that's so boring as an answer, but I don't know how to identify this Miami team that was so mediocre in the regular season, squeaked in, and now is just a giant killer.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat the Knicks. That's not that difficult. But, but Milwaukee, I don't know. So I think I'm going to go. I think Boston wins. I think in 6 games, but I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
I have Boston still winning. Actually, no, I don't know. I think it goes 7 games. I just don't know who wins. Like I can honestly say going into the series, if you, it would be literally just saying I'd be picking a name because there's 1 minute I'll look at like stats and I'll look at stuff and I'm like, all right, yeah, Boston should win this in 7. And then I look at what the Heat have done in the last like 2+ weeks, 3 weeks, and I'm like, the Heat, they just got it going, man. They know what everybody's doing. They're about as on the same page as a team can be. It's got to be the Heat, and I just go back and forth. Like I've literally gone back and forth. I don't know if you ask me who I think is going to win today. it'll be different a half hour from now, and on the same show, I'll have a different answer for it. I really don't know. I have no conviction with this series. The only conviction I have is I think it's going to go 7 games. The only conviction I have is I think it'll go 7 games. What's your prediction of this one, Caleb? Who do you got?
Know what? I just hearing what you said, I think whoever wins the first game is going to win this series.
Okay.
Because Miami can absolutely go into Boston tonight and beat them. Without a doubt.
They've done it. They've won game 1. Both of the series is on the road.
That's what I mean. And I think whoever wins, that's why my thing with the Lakers changed, because I was like, oof, Denver won that. I'm telling you, that's a big thing. And if Miami wins, whoever wins the first game tonight, I think takes the series, right? So I'm gonna just wait for that. Boston should absolutely win. There should be no debate. It should be a gentleman's sweep or within 6 on paper. But I know that's not the reality. So I'm gonna wait to see who wins tonight, and I think that team wins the series.
That's all right. All right.
No, seriously, I'm gonna take the first game winner wins.
I get it. Okay, Abby.
Well, I'm going Heat. I just think the Celtics they don't play with any, like, their energy just dies down during the game, and that's how they are at home. Their energy is not. I don't know what it is when they're at home. It should be more lively. You should want to dominate in front of your fans, and I just feel like it kind of, as the game progresses quarter by quarter, they just kind of slow down for some reason. But I mean, Caleb, you make a good point. I kind of agree with that too. If Miami can come in and make a statement, I mean, I can see them winning in 6.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, without question. And because Boston's schizophrenic, and no disrespect to anybody with real mental health issues like that, and so it's just an expression, but they're too sometimey. I'll use that word. And that just means one day they're one way, the other day they're the next. You know what I mean? Like,
bipolar. Like
I'm
that's another mental health. I get it.
No disrespect to anybody.
I'm not disrespect. I am. I get it, man. My wife.
No, but you know what I mean.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And that's my thing. That's been my beef with Tatum, and we've talked about Tatum ad nauseum. So I'm not gonna bring it up again. We all know I have no faith in Jason Tatum. I know.
Is 51 points good in Game 7?
It was really good. It shut me the F up on Monday. I can't tell you. I shut up. I said, okay, he beat me. But at the same time, like, do you expect him to score 50 points in this series? Like, I feel like he finally did it. He finally broke through a barrier of playing big in a big game for the whole game. Because how many times in a big game he'll have 3 points in the first half and then have 27 points in the second half. But it's such a hole that it was almost like, well, did he really get 27 points? Or they kind of just like let him kind of do what he needed because they already were so far ahead. They were just trying to run the clock out anyway. Or sometimes he'll have a big first half and then he'll do nothing in the second half when his team needs him. So this is the first time that I can remember in recent history in a big game where he was good from the first minute of the game into the end. I would love to see. Listen, I don't dislike Tatum for any other reason other than the fact that I feel like the league has put him on this pedestal, and he has yet to really earn that right to be on this pedestal. He did his first part of earning that right last Game 7 last series, and will he keep it up? We'll see. We'll see. But that
let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
Tatum scoring 51 points. I didn't have the same feeling in this that I did when Jokic scored 50 points on the Suns. It's just, you kind of don't know, like, did you really earn those 50 plus points, or like you said, were they letting him do whatever he wanted to do?
You know what? If they did let him do what he wanted to do in a Game 7, then shame on the 76ers.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's why their coach got fired.
They
quit.
Which we're going to get into right now, actually. Sisters Dismissed, great segue, Caleb. Sisters Dismissed, head coach Doc Rivers. We talked about it on Monday. It hadn't happened yet. We were curious if it would happen or if it even should happen. So, since you were here Monday, Caleb, I'll let you kind of piggyback off what you said on Monday into today. He is now fired. What's right or wrong decision?
Well, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's something I definitely understand. Doc Rivers is a phenomenal coach. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but his record in Game 7s is horrific.
He's got the most losses
in NBA history to lose 10 closeout games, right? Like it's the closest. Second place has 5. He's doubled that. So there's something about him with these games, because it's all different teams. And that's why I said on Monday, you got to look at the common denominator. When it's just one thing, it could be a debate as to what the issue is. But when if it's all four of your exes, the only common denominator in all four relationships is you, right? So you gotta look at that. So I feel like the Sixers had to make that decision. They were up 3-2. There was Celtics had to win 2 in a row, and they did. You know what I mean? You have the MVP. Yep. He did nothing. You had James Harden. He did nothing. Right? And I said it before. They're not going to get rid of the players. It's the coach that goes first. Yep. Right? So Doc, it's just natural. Like that's what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens with them next year. So in that respect, yeah, it's the right decision, I guess. But, I don't think it's really Doc. I think it's Embiid and Harden. Their mixture. Because listen, look at Harden. And I'll say this real quick and I'll pass it on. But Harden has played with 6 Hall of Famers. No chips. No nothing. He only went to the finals once. And that was when he had KD and Westbrook. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like Harden, you know what I'm saying?
He's
like
notorious
I don't know. So I think it's a chemistry issue. I'll tell you this though. I know who Philadelphia wishes was still in Philly, and that's Mr. Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
Because they let him go to bring in the beard.
Yep.
I think the beard should be shaved. He should shave the beard. He doesn't deserve to wear it anymore. You gotta take the time to grow it back, buddy. You know what I'm saying? You're still living on the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So Ebbs, who do you have as a replacement? Who do you think fits that team going forward as a new coach?
Well, I know you guys discussed it Monday, but obviously Monty Williams was dismissed as well. Not shocked, and I'm not shocked that Doc Rivers was dismissed either. But I mean, it just comes down to the whole thing. Like, that's the business of basketball. No championship, you're gone. And they're never going to put it on the players. Harden had like 9 points that game. It's the same thing that happened with Phoenix, the game 6. I think Booker had like 19 points or something like that. It's never going to be on the players. And I'm like, well, why? Because you paid Harden all that money to come over there, just like we paid KD to get over there. That's a little bit of a different story, obviously. But they're never going to pin it on the player. So it's just kind of collateral damage. I don't really know who would be a right fit there. I know they're going to look at Monty Williams, but you're just replacing a coach, the same for the same. You're just swapping. And that's kind of how I feel about Phoenix when they're going to look at Doc Rivers for sure. But it's like you're just replacing someone who hasn't won a championship in the last few years with what you already had. So they're just going to it's just going to continuously be a carousel of just coaches.
What about Budenholzer? He's got a championship.
Well, yeah, there's 2. Obviously, Nick Nurse is a different story. That's who I think. Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer, the one from the Milwaukee Bucks, is who I think that the Suns particularly should be looking at. That's also what I think the Sixers should be looking at either. Because, again, you're just going to be on that same carousel ride of expecting a championship from a coach who doesn't have a championship recently.
Yeah, I get it. So, Matt, where does he go? Does Doc Rivers have a job next year?
If he wants one. I mean, he's got the he actually did a good job coaching during the regular season last year, because that, managing James Harden and Embiid and stuff like that, probably can't be easy. I think it's right that he got fired, because it's 3 years in a row with this kind of Doc Rivers' calling card of playoff failures. And, Abby's right. It's not just the coach. The players have accountability, but the coach is the easiest thing to get rid of. Mm-hmm. And that's the easiest thing to spark change. So that's always going to be the first thing that goes. But yeah, I mean, there were some weird, confounding decisions. Like game 6, Embiid didn't touch the ball with 4 minutes left to go in the game.
Yep.
Yep. What?
He even said it. And I wonder if that was an indictment on the coach, if he said it. Like, I always wonder, like, all right, when players say stuff at post-game press conferences, Is there meaning behind what they're saying? Or they like? Did he say that in the sense of the game plan didn't allow him to touch the ball? Like, what was his point of saying that? That's where my mind went. Was that almost an indictment on Doc?
He was annoyed that he didn't touch the ball, whether it was a game plan or not,
or he just didn't get open or get the ball.
Yeah. He's always open.
I know you just throw it up high, he'll get it right.
Yeah, he's 7'2" or whatever. He's always open.
So
and like if James Harden was cooking, then it's like okay, he was cooking. I get it, but he wasn't. And so. He'll go somewhere if like someone will hire him probably, right?
I think he's better off with a young team like Orlando Magic don't need anybody, but like I remember I said on Monday, Houston Rockets need a coach, and Detroit needs a coach. You bring him there, you let him build that team up a little bit, develop the young talent because I think that's one thing he is good at. I think he's good at helping develop talent, right?
I think there'll be a job for him somewhere if he wants it.
I think he's better going to a place where he can stay away from the playoffs for a couple of years. Even for him, just stay away from the playoffs for a couple of years.
Oh, should go to the Knicks. Toss that one. Just toss that one up for me.
That was a flagrant one. That's a flagrant one. You know what? Wait, so let me ask you a question. What do you have? Who do you have as a replacement?
I like double N. Nick Nurse? Huh? Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Another question. Let me ask you a question like every question. Yeah. But what about Doc over in Toronto? Do you want him?
No. Too many playoff meltdowns.
All right. Well, you mean you guys weren't really in the playoffs this year, so I figured that's
we kind of were.
I mean, a meltdown would be a step up for you, no?
Yeah.
So
we have roster issues to sort out before we sort out the coach. I think.
I agree. I think there's a winning team in there. You just got to find the right formula.
Toronto, what do you think you guys do in the offseason?
The Knicks. We're actually going to talk about that in a little bit. We actually have there's some trade options.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a little bit, and I have my. Here's the thing with the Knicks, and we won't touch on it too much till later. But I'll say this one thing: every postseason, because the Knicks play in the biggest market on the planet. Every postseason, everybody, whether they're a free agent or they just may be up for a trade, is always tied to the Knicks. Every single player, like I seen it this morning, there's an article, Joel Embiid tied to the Knicks. How is it even possible? Philly is not getting rid of him, but they find, there's somebody out there with a trade scenario of why he might pick to leave and why he would go to the Knicks because of Leon Rose and Worldwide West. And, he's not coming to the Knicks. I know that. But like every year, every offseason, when we were bad, everybody was tied to the Knicks. Yeah. So, it gets kind of like, it just gets a lot of the fans' hopes up. You think, oh, maybe we can really get a guy, and you realize you had no shot. But yeah, you know what? Caleeb, who do you have as the replacement there in Philly? I know we talked a little bit on Monday, but just whoever wasn't around on Monday.
You know who I think might be good? I think Abby said it, but I know she mentioned his name, but I think it's Monty. I really like Monty. I think he got a raw deal in Phoenix.
I do too.
I think he should have got one more season. So I think he knows how to work with players like that. I think his game plan could work for Embiid and Harden. But I think the Sixers need they need to bring in somebody else to help Harden. And then I think Monty would be a really good fit outside of Nick Nurse. I think Nick Nurse would do good there as well. But I think Monty.
I think Phoenix is going to regret getting rid of Monty Williams.
I do too.
I really do think they're going to. They definitely pulled the trigger way too soon. They had just built this team up, took all the depth away, and said, "All right, now win some games." I tell you this, that takes time to get going.
I tell you this, Embiid is coming to the Knicks if the Sixers hire Mike D'Antoni. Watch.
You know what? He is one of the guys he's one of the guys that
why?
Is a Harden.
And why? And I know why.
James Harden.
Not just Harden, but Morey too. Their GM.
Oh, that's true.
That's what that is. Because remember, he used to run the Rockets. He's the one that kept Antoni in the job because Harden loved Antoni because the offense was set up for him when he was James Kardashian. He's not. He's James Harden now. He's old. He can't ball like he used to. And D'Antoni should take the D out of his name, like Stephen A. always say, because D don't exist with him. So It's going to be bad. I hope to God they do not. I'm not saying I don't want somebody to have a job, but I know Antony's a multi-millionaire, so he's not hurt.
He's fine.
You know what I mean? So, but I don't think he's the right fit. And if they hire him, watch, Embiid's going to demand a trade. Mark my words.
That's why I don't think it'll be him for that reason. I think that before they hire a coach, you don't have a reigning MVP on your team and then not consult him for the coach.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I don't like that that's what happens. I don't like that we give players this power, because when I was a kid, players didn't have that much power. And I liked it better that way, because you kind of say, you want the players to worry about playing, let the GMs worry about hiring the coaching and the staff, right? Let players just worry about playing. But it's not what it is today. So knowing that it's not what it is today, I see no way in which they don't go to Embiid first and say, okay, here's who we're thinking. Who do you think you can mesh well with what you want to do? I would be so surprised if they went against anything he wanted to do. Now, he might pick a guy. He might help them pick a guy midway through the season, realize that's not really good, and then complain that he wants to out because he doesn't like the coaching staff. That could happen. But I think with this hire here, I think they're going to have him have some say in this hire. I would be surprised if they don't. It would make no sense. It'd be different than what happens in sports today. Because everywhere you go, that's it. Every star player on every team has a shot to say what they feel as far as free agent moves and coaching and whatnot.
And Doc Rivers might get another shot. He could possibly end up in Phoenix because him and Chris Paul had a really good relationship.
I think that would be if I'm hiring a coach and I'm from a team that's like that made the playoffs this year, I stay clear of Doc Rivers.
No, I get it. And that's so sad because he's phenomenal. And
I agree.
I get your point. But I do think Chris Paul is going to put in a very strong argument for Doc to come there. Watch. I'm almost certain.
I could see that. Now, here's what I think.
Chris Paul even be there, though?
That's what I was going to say. Anything might not be there. Chris Paul may not be there.
Yeah.
I think they're going to bring Chris back. I really do.
I think they can if the money's right. I think they will. I think if you
the money's always right when your initials are CP.
Good point.
But the money is right. Like he's gonna get paid. That might be the problem. They're like, yo, we need you to take a haircut, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because he's gonna get no less than $30 million. No less.
I unfortunately think for Doc Rivers going forward, he's going to be a guy that's going to go to a team like a Detroit Pistons, like a Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
And help get that team, help rebuild that team, and just as they're on the cusp of winning, get let go and then bring the next guy in. I think, but there's a lot of great coaches that happens to. Look at
it does. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the
Buck
beast.
Showalter in the baseball. Every year he took over. Every time he took over a team, he would get fired. And like 2 years later, he took a team over when they were garbage. He'd build them up, and then he'd get fired. And the next year they'd be this team that was in contention for a championship. Every stop he's gone to, that's what's happened. So it happened to the Yankees. It happened with
I get it.
With Arizona. So I do think that's kind of where he's at career-wise now. But we'll see. Listen, at the end of the day, I think we could all agree that he's a good man from everything you hear and everything you see. So hopefully whatever is supposed to happen, whatever is the right thing works out for him.
Right.
He seems, again, nobody wants to simply lose a job, but
he's a multi-millionaire as well.
He's not, I'm sure he's not having to clip coupons today, I'm sure. So, all right. So this brings it on to Spurs winning the 2023 NBA draft lottery. Hornets, Blazers, Rockets in the top four. And let me tell you what my takeaway from this was as I looked through my notes. And there, Patty puts up the thing. I want to say my takeaway from this before we talk about the rest of it is, we talked about earlier on the life of this show, late in the basketball season, where the Mavs tanked a game. And if they tanked it put them in a certain spot where they had a better chance of finishing the top 10. And the problem was, if they finished with 11 through 14, the Knicks would get that pick. If they finished 1 through 10, the Mavs get to keep that pick. Well, they finished they got the 10th pick. The ones they literally got to the spot where it was like, if they don't get this pick, then the Knicks actually get a lottery pick, and they got it at 10. So I don't know if it's the league just saying, "Hey, we hate you guys, we hate you, the Knicks," or just dumb luck. But I'll tell you what, it makes me hate the Mavs a little bit. It makes me hate the Mavs a little bit because they tanked, and it cost me a first round draft pick. We have 0 draft picks this year, and we would have had a lottery pick if it wasn't for this. So that's my take on this. Everybody knows there's no question about who's going number one. We all know it's the 7'5", 19-year-old Frenchman to the Spurs. Wemby, right? Wembyana. Matt, what was your take on what do you think, man? Like, there's no chance it's anybody else. What can this kid do, especially year one? He's got to put on some weight. Like he's rail thin. But what does this mean for the Spurs team?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, this is the third time.
And the first two times equal championships, multiple championships.
Yeah. Robinson, Duncan, now this. Like, Detroit got hosed.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pop, good for Pop. I mean, this kid's psychotic. He's 7'5" without shoes, is the saying that's going around. He's a freak athlete. He can shoot a bit. His 3-point shooting's not very good, but I imagine that'll get better. But no, it's a no-brainer. He's going first. That's it. Adios. Case closed on that.
He can shoot from three, but you're right. He's got to work on that a little bit. But he can shoot from three.
He was 28% this year.
Which is better than big man from back in the day. It's not great, but it's not. It's
horrific by today's standards.
But I'm also talking about where if you talk about like not that long ago, it wasn't. But I wouldn't say it's horrific. If he could up that like about 5 points,
he's shooting Shaq's percentage
from three. Not from three. Shaq shot
like Russell Westbrook.
No, I'm just teasing. That's my but I'm just saying.
I was like, wait a second. We're talking about from three. Not
He's shooting Russell Westbrook, man.
But that's what I'm saying. But listen for a center, for a big man that you have to worry about coming in and out with. I feel like it could be worse. I feel like I know it's.
Abby, what do you think about his 3-point percentage? Be honest.
It's not that good.
Not good.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying he gets. What I'm trying to say is this: you still need to guard him. You still need to DM up from out there. It's not like it's Patrick Ewing from 3-point range. It's not like it's Shaq from 3-point range. You still have to respect the fact that he can still hit that 1 in 4 times. He's going to hit that shot.
He has to show me. He would have to show me. I would give him, like Matt said, I'd be doing the Russell Westbrook. Shoot it!
Oh, that's shooting.
Anytime people are chanting, shoot it.
Yeah, I think you still got to respect the fact that he can hit that 3-pointer though.
No, he has to prove that he can.
And especially in the NBA, is going to be a lot different of a situation.
But
they only play 30 games a season in Europe.
You're right, but your point about him, you're right. Like he needs to eat immediately. They need to take him to an In-N-Out. Oh, no, they don't have In-N-Out in San Antonio. Chick-fil-A, something.
They got some Tex-Mex. Still fill them up on
put on weight because those guys are big.
Yeah.
These American centers are big and they're heavy and they're gonna bully him. And he's 19, so he's young. He hasn't seen a lot of what these guys have. So it's gonna be rough. And I think he's too thin.
Can you imagine like Joel Embiid will have a field day with this kid?
Yeah, he needs weight training immediately. Eat anything you want, all of that, because he has to put it on because they're gonna put the whole thing on his shoulders immediately. He don't get a rookie seat. He don't get to red shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
now, do we think there's any funny business? Because the Spurs are like the national team of France.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, France is the most popular team in France. The Spurs, a lot due to Tony Parker.
Yeah.
So that's the major, like when you think about like what team's the popular team in certain countries, that's the most popular team in France is the Spurs.
I think it's dumb luck. I don't want to say it's conspiracy because shit, it all could be.
Yeah.
Heck, it could be. But I'm just saying.
I don't think it is either.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting just to see. But I think he needs to prepare himself because it's going to come. They start the season in when? It's like September or October.
Well, the camp's open in September.
Right. So basically, he's got 4 months.
His best bet is to get to the U.S. like
immediately. Yeah, he should have left last night after his thing on
Chick-fil-A.
Yep. And just start eating. And enjoy all the great. You send him out to New Orleans for a little bit. But do whatever they're doing with Zion Williamson.
He needs to hang out with
Zion for that. Yeah, hang out with Zion for a day.
Zion.
Yeah.
Zion will thicken him up real quick.
Right? That's what they need to do. Get him a couple pounds. Because listen, if he could keep his game and still add the weight, he'd be about as scary as a big man as there in the NBA. And again, I agree. Work on his 3-point game. I just don't think it's as bad as everybody else thinks. But I get it.
You have to.
But you know what? if he can put on the weight and still keep his game and stay healthy and not get hurt trying to put on the weight, we're looking at potentially the biggest star in the league with everything else that he can do, because he can play defense. He could be an MVP and also a defensive player of the year in the same year. He's got that type of resume over in France. He has to just put on the weight and he can do it here. I don't think he could do it currently constituted. He's built like Chet Holmgren right now, which we've seen he couldn't even get into the regular season.
That's right.
He's got to add that weight on. So, Abby, what do you say?
Oh yeah, no, he's really lanky. He has like a body that reminds me of like KD. Sometimes it looks like a stick with like and then it's like shoes. Like it's like a big L. They're just very disproportionate. So yeah, he needs to gain weight. I feel bad for the Pistons, man. They really
him standing next to Zion Williams would be the number 10. The old joke. The Pistons definitely got like Matt said, they got hosed. I think what they finished, they got 5th, right? Yeah, 5th. So them and the Rockets 4th and 5th. Blazers got a couple of picks, but only one I think they have 2 other picks, I think, but aren't. Or no, it's the Jazz. I got 3 picks, but not in the lottery, just one in the lottery. And the Magic actually have 2 in the lottery. They got number 6 and number 11. So everyone knows that's a team that I also root for a little bit too. So hopefully they can improve that team.
That's great for them.
So yeah, I mean, it's, we'll see what's there at 6 and 11. But I feel like they already got their star guys. They already have Pancharo. But
you can add more and make those guys play for those top 5 positions. Like that's more
depth.
What you do.
And it's just more depth. So maybe they won't have a Batman, but they could have like 3 or 4 Robins, and sometimes 3 or 4 Robins beats 1 Batman, 1 Robin. So
it's true.
So we'll see. All right, so that brings us to proposed 3-team trade that's being rumored. It's going to send Karl-Anthony Towns and Brandon Ingram to the Knicks. We touched on it a little bit on Monday because we went there on Monday. But I'll tell you, so the way the story goes was the Knicks would get Karl-Anthony Towns and Brandon Ingram. The T-Wolves would get Randall, Dyson Daniels, and New York's 2024 first rounder. The Pelicans would get RJ Barrett, Taurean Prince, Derrick Rose, and two 2025 picks, first rounders, one from the Knicks, one from Milwaukee. I'm sorry, Minnesota, not Milwaukee, Minnesota. Is this that far-fetched? Does this have a chance of happening, Caleb?
Of course it does. It wouldn't even be rumored if it wasn't. It's rumored because they're talking about it. It just means it's not confirmed, but it's happening. Like they're looking to do. New York is trying to make moves. Yeah. Like obviously. And are we going to act like, how the hell is Derrick Rose still in the league? Why is he even like?
I got to be honest.
I'm like, yo, Derrick Rose has had the best career ever in the NBA outside of Odin. What was his name? The dude on the
Greg Oden.
Greg Oden
from Ohio State.
Stealing money? Are you kidding me? This dude is still.
But I'll tell you what. Here's who I would include on that pick besides Derrick Rose. I would see if I could take Derrick Rose out because he's also an expiring contract, and he's also but he still has some gas left in the tank. And now I'm blanking on Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier's not playing here either.
That's why Rose is in that trade because he's an expiring contract.
But so is Evan Fournier, and Evan Fournier can at least play a little bit if you're going to have him for the year until you move him again. I think it's easy to move Evan Fournier, even though his contract sucks, but he's still serviceable. He could still play. Like why he didn't play up for the Knicks in this postseason is beyond me, especially when we were having trouble hitting from 3. Might as well have played him just to see if he could spark something from 3-point range. And beyond that, I'd love to see Derrick Rose stay on our bench for our young guys.
Now he's great for that, but I mean,
he's not playing anymore.
It's the roster spot, and he's making what's the league minimum is $5 million.
Yeah, he's not even making. He's not making the minimum. He's making.
Hell no, he's not. So. That's what I'm saying. He's stealing money.
But so is Evan Fournier.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I would think if I'm another team, I'd rather Evan Fournier because at least he can play until I move him myself.
But that I'm gonna just say Ingram and Cat in New York that's nasty.
With Jalen Brunson, with Obi Toppin still here. That's a Obi Toppin then moves into the starting 5.
That would be better. Losing Randall hurts a little bit because you would want him with them, but I get it. To get them, you got to get rid of him. You got to lose him, but that's not bad.
Well, I'll repeat it one more time, and then everyone kind of give me who they think wins this trade. So Knicks would get Karl-Anthony Towns, Brandon Ingram. T-Wolves get Randall Daniels and a 2024 first rounder. Pelicans get Barrett, Taurean Prince, Rose, and two 2025 picks, first rounders, Knicks and Minnesota's pick. Who wins this trade, Matt?
Well, with the NBA, the winner of the trade is always who gets the best players because the picks are just window dressing.
Question mark. Yeah.
So it looks like the Knicks would win the trade. Although, like, do you want Karl Anthony Towns? He's so, I don't know, man. But
I probably
I do like Cat, Brunson, and Ingram more than R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Brunson. I'll tell you that for free. I think you get better immediately.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think, the Knicks would win that trade.
I think it's also interesting for the Pelicans adding Prince and adding Barrett. Barrett has a familiarity with Zion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Abby, what do you think? Is this one where everybody wins, or is there a specific team that you say gets the better of the deal?
I agree with Matt. Basically, the Knicks, they got two of the best players out of that whole deal, and then like you were saying, picks, it's up or down. You know what I mean? You never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, I would say the Knicks. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns. They're both Brandon Ingram. They're both averaging like about 20 points a game. Yeah, I think it's enough to get him over that hump.
And again, Karl Anthony Towns didn't play. Big Cat didn't play that much this year.
Missed
a ton of games.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll make him fresh for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good because what it does is what Cat gives the Knicks is interior, a body in there that he can compete, at least bother Giannis. Embiid, because you forget the East got all the centers except for Jokic on the West, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even Bam down in Miami, like Cat is a big dude. Like that's a body you got to contend with down there.
It also creates depth too, because now Mitchell Robinson slides down the depth chart a little. He's not the starter anymore. He's a guy. He's probably going to get starter minutes, but they'll figure out ways to put him in. He'll spell Cat at times. He'll come in. He'll play the 4 at times. So they could still keep him there, or they might look to move him for something else. Maybe they move him to get a 3. They might want to upgrade that 3 spot and bring in a nice swingman right there. So there's a couple things they could do with Mitchell Robinson at that point. A lot of people in the league love Mitchell Robinson, so I'm sure you would be able to move him if you felt like you needed to move him. So at minimum, it either creates a nice amount of depth on that front court, or it gives you another piece to move to bring in a 3. Right. So either way, there's a bonus to this. Not just in this move, but what this move creates. Who do you think wins, Caleb? Do you agree with everyone else?
Yeah, because it's with the picks, it's wait to see, because you know what I mean. Like, so you don't know, but on paper, and it's more immediate for the Knicks. It's fantastic. You need those 2 guys. Like that's
we'll win now.
Depth, skill, especially Ingram.
Yeah, and we'll win now. So
I like him a lot.
He had a huge year. My holy hope is with Ingram is it's not like, although, I mean, if you look, he's been pretty good the last few years, but I feel like this year it wasn't just his points per game. I just felt like he just played more solid. If you look at his stats, are pretty much similar to the last 4 years. But there was just something about him this year that I felt like he just felt more reliable this year. Whether it's not, maybe I watched him more this year, and I don't know, maybe that it could very well be that. Maybe I just watched him a little more this year and I felt that way.
Right.
But if you see, he's become this player that he's become in the last couple of years, where he's been getting better every year. So we look forward to, hopefully this could happen. Who's the one team, if you say, does anybody lose in this trade? All right, we know the Knicks might be the big winners. Does anybody lose in this trade? Like, do we like the
Pelicans?
See, I think the Pelicans make out decent with Barrett. I think it's a good place for him to kind of develop a little bit.
What? I mean, maybe. All right, I'm not a big RJ fan.
I'm not either. I was last year. This year, I feel like he took a little bit of a step backwards, but there is still the potential there. So I agree. I just think he needs a new place to play in order to realize that potential. Like, I feel like he can go somewhere and be like a 28 point a night game. Person.
Holy shit, dude!
I can't. I'm stroking out. 28 points per game person somewhere else. I just think maybe he can't do it. I don't know what the hell just happened to me.
It's a glitch in the matrix,
right? But I don't think he can do it in New York anymore. I think it needs to be somewhere else.
Yeah, it's too much pressure.
So I think that would be. I think, to be honest with you, I think the Wolves actually make out the least out of the 3 teams.
Okay.
Just adding Randall. Dyson Daniels is a nice piece, but he's just a nice piece. I don't think he's just another player to me. Julius Randle to me is the one where, okay, they're getting a good player. He doesn't need to be like you said, where's his best place to go? Is a place where he doesn't have to be the main focus. He won't be here. Right. It'll be Anthony Edwards. But at the same time, he still needs to. He's gonna have to be like that, the backbone of that team. maybe even like the team leader to an extent as like the toughness guy, because he's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say he's soft.
Yeah.
The way he plays can be soft sometimes in the big moments, but he's definitely not tough. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So hopefully for my Knicks, that'll happen, and that way we can shut Matt up a little bit. Matt made.
There's nothing that could shut me up, dude. I'll find something else.
That's a good point.
I'll find something else.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you'll shut up next time Aaron Judge comes to bat again. So Aaron Judge.
God damn it. He's terrifying, man.
He's got. I think he's got about 20 goals.
I will say this. I fucking hate the Yankees, and I always will. Fuck the Yankees.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is like the first guy ever that I've been like, I really like Aaron Judge. Like
he's a nice guy.
I hated every like Jeter. Fuck Jeter. I came to respect him near the end though. Like I was like, okay, I respect him as a competitor. Hated him. I don't hate Judge.
I get
really
being jealous. I hate being jealous of the mothership of baseball. I get it.
Yeah, I love Judge. He's so good, and he's got an awesome attitude. And I think looks like an awesome dude. And he was on my fantasy baseball team that won the title last year. So I'm with Aaron Judge.
There it is.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna talk a little bit of football, guys. I know we didn't get to talk much about. We showed the one video on Monday. We didn't get to talk much about the schedule, the schedule release. So I figured let's talk about it now. Any big games that stick out in anybody's mind? I mean, Abby, I know we talked about it before. The Jets are trying to become the team that's going to play every Black Friday. Is that a good idea? Should the league always have a standalone Black Friday game?
Yeah, I think so. Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, everyone's home. Everyone's pretty much off that entire day. I know I am, and mainly like the same 8 to 5 jobs are normally home. Now, I told you there was going to be an issue probably with the time and adjusting the time because, again, when people, it's obviously a huge day for shopping. I understand a lot of people do online shopping now, but a lot of people still go in person. And, it's a 3 p.m. game. At that point in time, it'll be 12 p.m. here. It's just an odd time for a West Coast game, but obviously, speaking for me, I'm so hyped that the New York Jets got like 6 primetime games. So
we actually got the preseason. Now, Pat, let's go to week 1. We don't need to see the preseason. So while he's doing that, I like the idea of the Jets having like a game once a year with it. Every day that's like the Detroit has Thanksgiving, the Cowboys have Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see the Jets have something like that. I don't see them ever really giving it to the Jets. I think this is a game that's going to be here to stay. I've said it for years. I don't know why they don't have a game on the Friday after Thanksgiving. I think this is a game that's here to stay. I don't know if it's going to be the Jets. I could see them not giving it to the Jets, but
it's not going to be the Jets because the quarterback situation. It's not like they have a Josh Allen or someone
that's going to be there for the next 12 years.
Exactly. We have Rodgers, which I will always say I'm super grateful for, but that's 2 or 3 years.
But then we do have Zach Wilson after that, so who knows?
Oh.
Caleb,
he'll be too busy with the moms.
Caleb, how do you feel about the Black Friday game? Do you like the idea? And do you think it's something that they do you think they should add another game to the day?
No, I mean, I'm a huge football fan, so more football, the better for me. Like, I love the playoffs because then you get like 2, sometimes 3 games in a day. It's like the best ever. Yep. So I'm always going to be for more games. So, yeah. And for the Jets, it's going to be whether they're good or not, right? If they perform well this season, say they make it to the playoffs, say they make noise, they'll absolutely get that game. The NFL is going to go with whoever's hot.
Yeah.
So you have to stay consistent. The reason why the Cowboys get Thanksgiving is because for years they were winning all the time. Mm-hmm. So people got indoctrined with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like Detroit, it's just for tradition, right? Because they're not.
I think Detroit had it first, if I remember correctly.
Tradition, and now Detroit is coming back. So I think the Jets absolutely could get it. They should fight for it because it's New York, and the idea of shopping and like quick and now and immediacy is a very New York thing, right? So like, I think the Black Friday being with a New York team should be that. And I think the Jets should absolutely fight for it, but they have to earn it through their play. And if they have a great season, they'll get it again next year. Mm-hmm. Like I'm telling you, that's what will happen.
I agree with that. Matt, you have your team plays every Thanksgiving. So how does that? Do you like knowing your team is on every Thanksgiving, or is it kind of one of those things where it's? I know you're in Canada, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving the same day, or maybe you do. I don't know.
No, we don't. Ours is a month before. But
I'm saying, but do you still celebrate something on that Thursday? Does it still have anything?
Yeah, football.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it's awesome. Everyone, you get together at the bar or somebody's house, and it's a full Thursday, a full day, full pull. It's awesome. I love it.
There you go.
And Black Friday games. Yeah, I'm with Caleb. More football. Let's do it.
I think they should add 2. Make it 3:00 and a 6:30, or 3:30 and a 7:00, something like that. I would love to see them add a second game. One doesn't have to be a same team every year, but I would like to see it be a team where, like I said, I would love to see my Jets actually get some love from the league and be the team that always is on a specific day every year.
They have to win.
They definitely have to win.
Yeah.
They have to prove that they're here to stay. I would find that as a sense of pride as a Jet fan. Like, I'm sure Detroit loves the fact, even though they've gone through a lot of lean years, I'm sure Detroit loves the fact that they know that they're always playing on Thanksgiving. Same thing, obviously, Matt just said with the Cowboys. You get to be the team of that 3-hour window, and for the whole league, representing the league every year on that specific window. So I would love it myself as a Jet fan.
But also be careful what you wish for with all the primetime games, because last year it fucking backfired with Denver. Denver was on, I felt like, 30 primetime games.
I think Russell Wilson. Blame Russell Wilson for that.
Oh my God. They were so brutal to watch.
They were pretty rough last year. Yeah. What was that? Was it the game against the Colts that it was like 10-10 or something like that? It was like really bad.
Oh my God.
They had one game, it was a primetime game, and I think it was a Thursday nighter that was so bad, and I think it was the Colt game.
Well, what was that stat? The stat was like, if they had scored over 18 points in a game, their record would have been like 11-6 or something.
It was whatever it was. I think it was the same stat as the Jets. The Jets had the same thing, where if they would have scored the average amount of points in the league, they would have been like won 11 or 12 games. It was something similar to that. So here we go. We got week 1, Lions and Chiefs, obviously for the season, the league opener. Do we think the Lions are for real from some of the moves that they've made?
We're going to find out.
That's the game to find out. I think the Chiefs want to know, but scroll down I don't know if there's any big games. Let's see who our team's got. Where's Dallas? Where's the Jets play Monday night?
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Philly's got the Patriots. How do you feel about that, Caleb?
We're beating them. They're not ready. We're smashing them. But the Dolphins Chargers is going to be good. Cowboys and Giants going to be good.
Yes.
I'm expecting because the Giants made a lot of moves. They did it. They did it secretly. They made moves in shower shoes. But Dallas should win. If Dallas loses that game, it's gonna say a lot about their season. Like, because
it's gonna say a lot about both teams.
You hear Dak talking about Brandon Cooks being the key that they needed. I'm like, man, shut up. No, he's not. Like now I don't even believe you. You're saying stuff that don't make no damn sense.
Brandon Cooks hasn't mattered since Oregon State.
He's talking about
Micah Parsons is going to eat Danny Dimes for breakfast.
And he should. Yeah. Listen, and Caleb's right. This game here is going to mean a lot, not just for the Cowboys, but for the Giants too. The winner of this game, it's going to say a lot about the direction both teams are going in.
Yeah.
So let me slide down. Eagles, Vikings. I think
that's going to be good.
Ooh, that'll be good.
I remember last year, guys. I think it was week 2 last year. You guys played the Vikings as well, and and you guys beat the Vikings. A lot of people thought the Eagles were going to lose that game, and the Vikings ended up getting
it was a little bit further than game 2, because it was like game 2 undefeated. Or
I thought it was only
to it.
We got a game 2 there, Abby, Gene.
Yes, we do. We're going to get to it in a second. It's right here. There we go. Matt, are we gonna do a little? We'll do a little bit better than $10 a game on this one. This is a big one.
Closer to.
We'll get once we get there. Although, it gives me a chance to back out in case old man Rodgers can't handle it. I like that Dolphins Patriots game, because even though the Patriots, God bless.
Thank you.
Even though the Patriots are not who they've been in the recent years, that's always a good game. Them two. And you know what? Well, the Browns are gonna be better this year too. Giants 49ers should be a decent one. Keep scrolling, Patty. I'm looking for our teams.
I like week 8 Niners and Bengals.
That'll be that throwback to like a couple of Super Bowls. So Jets got the Patriots. Cowboys Cardinals. I think we both got wins there. Eagles Buccaneers, no problem. Listen, Eagles already. That's 3 games in a row. Eagles should be able to pull off. Now, the Eagles should be 3-0 at this point.
On paper, yes, but it's way different when you get on that field.
I know that, but when you look at these games, they're better than those teams.
Hey, I'm nervous about the Commanders and Eagles that game, because see, what people don't recognize about football, the NFL, is this: interdivisional games
are a whole nother animal.
Doesn't matter what the records are. Doesn't matter. Like, they play each other differently. That's going to be good. I think we should win, but it's not going to be a cakewalk. I tell you that.
Commanders are going to be better than people think this year. I think because the ownership is such a chaotic mess, I think a lot of people look down on the team itself when they've had a better team than they've gotten credit for in the last few years.
Hey, they got that one, Chiefs and Jets. Woo!
You know what? That might be the game. That might be a game I need to go to. I'll still be in New York at that point. I know Abby's probably going to make it to one of these games. We'll talk about that game.
Yeah, I'll tell you when.
But yeah, that may be usually. So I used to have season tickets to the Jets. Got rid of them, and then since then, me and my son have decided to have like have at least go to the home opener. That's like our tradition. At least go to the home opener. This isn't the home opener, but I might push off on the home opener to go to this one. I would love to be able to see Mahomes live, or maybe I'll go to both. We'll see. Although the Jets did raise ticket prices this year, so there's that. Cowboys, Patriots. You guys should be able to take that one out. So now where we at? Week 5. Scroll through a little bit. Jets, Broncos. That game scares me just because I don't know what the Broncos are going to be. The Broncos are going to be better than they were last year.
We beat them with Zach Wilson, I think. So I'm just kind of – but I know it's a whole different year. But, I mean, again, on the road, that's a hard stadium to play in.
It's a tough stadium to play in, and they're going to be better than they were last year. I really do think they're going to be a lot better. I think last year they're going to correct a lot of mistakes. I don't think they'll be great, but I think they'll be better.
That Sunday night football game between the Cowboys and Niners is going to be nasty. Because the Niners are sick.
Eagles should have no problem with the Rams, but they are going to LA. So
we'll be in LA. I think I'm gonna try to go to that game.
There's one for Caleb.
Yeah.
Let's go to week 6. Broncos Chiefs again. That's gonna be another good one. Like Caleb said before, when you get to the divisional games, man, you never know.
Yeah, they're hard to call.
So where do we got any more teams? Go slow, Pat, so I can. So we
don't
and there we go. And there we go. There's a game. We might have to put a little bit of. We have to put a little some.
Hey, Cowboys Chargers. That's going to be a good Monday night game.
Yeah,
that will be a good Monday night game. And listen, that Jet Eagle game is going to be also nationally televised. As we all know, Jets. There's a lot. You've seen a lot of memes, and I'm sure Abby posted one or two of them about now the Jets getting a lot of 4:00 games. Let me tell you, I actually dislike that. I like to hang it.
I love it because that means I don't have to get up at 10 or 11. Do you know how hard it is to work out, get to the bar all by 10?
I get it. As a New Yorker, I love the 1:00 games. Which is also why I don't like the Monday night game or the Thursday night game. I like being on national TV. I get to brag a little bit. Hey, look at my team's on national TV. But there's something about not being involved on a Sunday that makes me a little sad. Like if we play on a Thursday, we get to Sunday. I'm like, oh wait, yeah, my Jets aren't playing. And it's like I always feel like let down a little bit. You know what I mean? But we got the Eagles though, and so we'll have to discuss a little wagering with Caleb on that one.
Bills.
And then who else we got?
Let's see.
Bills, Pats, Eagles, Dolphins.
I'll
tell you what, Eagles, who was the home? Fresh memory, because I already forgot. Who was home? Jets or Eagles?
The Jets.
Oh, okay. All right. So but still, that's a tough game, even at home, man. That's a game that's
of course it's going to be a tough game. And I tell you this, hopefully both the teams are doing great. Hopefully they're both 4 and something or 5 and something, or maybe 6-0 at that time. Because you want the game to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully neither one of them shit the bed and come in both 1-5.
Oh, that'd be the worst. The league would be with the amount of primetime games they gave both those teams, that would be the worst thing for the league itself. The league would be
that 49ers Vikings is that's a good one.
That is going to be a really good one.
Yeah. Us against the Dolphins is going to be good too.
It is.
But we can beat them because it's going to be cold in Philly at that time. That's late October.
Yes.
Tragedy.
Here we go. Jets, Giants. We've had some bad, experiences playing against the Giants. My son will be at that game, actually. My son already knows he's going with a bunch of buddies to that game. So my son will be at that one at least. I know that much. I don't think I'll be at that one. I'll probably want to watch that one from home. Eagles, Commanders. And in Washington. So that's going to be tough sledding.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Rams.
They're beating the Rams.
You need to be able to beat the Rams in Dallas.
They're beating the Rams.
Let's keep going through.
With their old offensive coordinator as the head coach.
Don't pass the ones that we need. Oh, there we go. Now we get the Eagles.
November
Is that the first
5th
Eagles
is
Cowboys?
the game, baby.
It's the day after my birthday, man.
November 5th is the game.
What's going to happen with Matt and Caleeb? I can't wait for that Friday episode.
You know what's going down.
Yeah, we'll get the trash talking going with these two. We got the Chargers.
Those last three games: Bills, Bengals, Chargers, Jets, Cowboys, Eagles. Woo!
Listen, and you know what's so great about all this? These games seem so hype right now. If the football gods have their way, these teams will all be losing like bad records. We get there, we don't give a shit about these games.
You know what's crazy?
That Chargers game worries me.
Be like 8-2. And like,
I'll tell you what,
we didn't think.
Yeah, right.
That are good. Fucking Raiders 9-1 and shit.
It's crazy to think, but I'll tell you what's weird too is I feel like every team we're playing in the West is our nationally televised game. The Chiefs nationally televised, the Raiders, the Chargers. We're playing a non-nationally televised games against.
I'll be at that Raiders game.
There's the game that Abby will be at. Abby will be at that
in
one,
Vegas. So. He's like, I'm going to Vegas.
Tickets are expensive.
What are they going for out there for the Jets, Abby?
Huh?
What are they going for?
What do you mean? Oh, so my mom looked, they were 300, but we have like family friends and they're selling us their 2 tickets. So my mom's automatically giving me those tickets because they're probably better seats. And then she'll have to look. But I mean, when she went last season to watch the Raiders and the Broncos, tickets were for 2 like 700.
That's expensive, especially to go.
It doesn't matter if they're bad or not. And we try to tell my uncle's trying to go. He's like, I'll wait till later to buy them. She's like, they're not going to go down.
Yeah,
they can be
only going to go
1
up.
and 9, and they'll still like be that expensive
because you got to pay for the Death Star.
And it's Vegas too.
And and Aaron Rodgers, people are going to want to see Aaron Rodgers just in general.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
He's going to be a traveling circus this season.
Top selling jersey this year. Top selling jersey so far.
So right. In fact, I saw that was yesterday. They were saying that. So you got the Cowboys, Giants again. Who did the Eagles have that week, Patty? Did they have?
We might even have a bye.
We might have a bye week.
Yep, looks like it was a bye. All right, so let's go down next one.
Let's keep going. Let's not scroll backwards. Let's keep going.
We should make it. Should we do it past the Eagles? We'll pass the Cowboys because
we can pass the Eagles.
All right, here we go. We got Jets versus Bills. So
that's
going to be
even
good.
Though it's not nationally televised, it's probably going to be seen in a lot of markets because it's 4:30. Cowboys, Panthers.
It's Allen against Rodgers, of course.
There you go.
Eagles, Chiefs. Ooh.
There's our rematch in Arrowhead.
I'll tell you what. I like the Eagles' chances better than the Super Bowl because they're that much better of a team this year. So you have a shot.
We shall see. On paper, we're great, but like I said, that matters.
But you know what? We'll get into it a little bit because we'll talk about some of the picks and stuff in a few minutes. But so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Cowboys, Commanders. Another, like I said, I think Commanders are a team that I think will really kind of come out of nowhere. And if they're good too, that's going to be some tough division, man.
It always is.
It always is. Listen, even when they're not that good, they at least beat the hell out of each other. So
that's right.
I think it's good, but I think you're all going to be pretty good this year. Dolphins, Jets. Obviously, that's going to be a big game. That's the
Black Friday game.
That's the Black Friday game, right? Yeah. So there you go. There's Black Friday right there. Let's see.
Bills, Eagles.
That's a tough game for even in Philly. That'll be a tough game.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Cowboys, Seahawks.
They should beat them.
Yeah, you should beat the Seahawks, especially on the road.
Falcons are garbage.
Yeah, Falcons. If we don't win that game, then we know it's a bad year. That'll be. But can I tell you something, Abby? You've been a Jet fan long enough to know that even if we're good this year, even what week is that? Even if we got only like 2 losses on the year, we could easily lose that game at home to the Falcons just because that's what the Jets do.
Us against the Niners is going to be nasty.
Listen, it's a rematch of last year's NFC Conference Championship.
And this time, I'm sure the 49ers won't have to use their tight end to be quarterback. You know what I mean?
Right?
Because that did take away. I was really excited about that game, and them not having a quarterback
it threw the whole game off. Yeah. I gotta be honest. I had the 49ers in that game too. I thought the 49ers were going to pull it off, but I thought they were also going to have a quarterback. Jets, Texans, obviously that should be a Jet win.
Yeah.
Where we go? Where do we got the Dallas and Eagles again? There we go.
That's our rematch. We play twice a year
at home.
And is that a Is it
It's home for Dallas. We're in the dome.
Wait, so is there 2 Monday night games that week? I see 2 December 11th games.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do that though.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, usually I know they used to do it in week 1 where they'd have an earlier game. They'd have like a 7:00 game, like a 10:00 game. But I never seen them that late in the year.
Yeah.
Jets Dolphins obviously going to be that's going to be like just a tough matchup.
They need
Cowboys
a split.
Bills.
They need a split. Jets need to split each of those divisional ones or sweep.
Maybe Matt, maybe your Cowboys could do the Jets a couple of favors that week and win a game. You know,
maybe
even if you only win like 3 or 4 games, maybe that could hopefully be one of them. Eagles, Seahawks, tough place to play, man.
No, it sucks in Seattle. That's gonna be a rough one.
That's a tough place to play. It's gonna be cold that time of year too. And here we go with the Christmas Eve games. Jets Commanders. Again, Commanders are one of those teams that scares me this year.
Mm-hmm.
That Eagles. The Vikings Lions game should be good that late in the season. Where's the rest of our teams? Cowboys Dolphins.
Giants Eagles.
Eagles on Christmas Day. One of the Christmas Day games is the triple header.
Raiders
Chiefs. That should be a fun one. And then you got the middle game is the Eagles Giants, and then we go to Jets Browns, and we'll talk about Browns added a big piece, so Browns gonna be tough this year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should be good. They're gonna
have some defense. They're gonna have some defense, and here we Cowboys Lions battle of Thanksgiving teams.
Yeah, Cowboys gonna demolish them. Nah, I don't know. The Lions are a lot better.
Lions gonna be tough this year.
Yeah, they're a lot better. We should kill the Cardinals.
Yeah. You guys, that should be like 48-3. That's the Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the league this year.
Bengals, Chiefs.
That's going to be go back real quick, Patty. Was that a Monday nighter? Oh, it's going to be a national game though because it's on the 4:30 game, so everyone in the country's going to see.
Bengals Chiefs is good.
Yeah, that was the national. That was what was that Monday night last year, right? Was it Sunday or Monday night? That was the DeMar Hamlin game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Monday. That was Monday night.
That was a Monday night. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was a night game. I wasn't sure if it was Sunday or Monday. Dallas.
It was Thursday.
Was it a Thursday?
I thought it was a Thursday night game.
I know it was definitely a night game though.
But the point is, it was night and it was a track. So
yes.
It don't matter which night it was.
Cowboys, Commanders. Again, Commanders gonna be tough this year. Where are Eagles, Giants? Go Eagles! I'm rooting for Eagles that day. I hate the Giants. Jets, Patriots.
I don't like playing the Patriots so damn late because watch it come down to winning in. I don't want it to come down to that.
It can't. Listen. If it's a winning in game, then the Rodgers experiment was a fail.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's a good.
If we were winning in last year and we just missed it, so being in that same scenario this year to me is a fail.
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty much. It's got to be one of those things where if we don't win the division, it's not because we lost certain games. It's because the Bills won more games than they should have too.
Yeah.
We need to win 11 or 12 games. And if the Bills win 11 or 12 or 13 games, then I can't be mad at the Jets. I think they have a squad that can win 12 games this year at max. So that means if the Bills
can win more than 12.
They can, but I'm saying they have to at least get there.
That first stretch into the
I'll be content with 12 wins.
Yeah. I said 11. I said 11 wins, but I can see them getting 12.
I think that's where they're going to be is 11, but 12 is where I think they can go. And again, they can go higher, but I kind of think they max at 12, but they can go higher.
There's 18 games in the regular season now. So 11 means 11.
17.
18 weeks.
18 weeks, you have one bye week.
Yeah. Sorry. That's right.
Yeah,
17.
but that stretch going into week before a bye week is hard. Cowboys, Bills, I forgot who else we have in there. I know.
Listen, we got a tough schedule. We got a tough schedule in the league this year. So I think we're like the 4th hardest schedule based on last year's record.
Yeah, it's like 6.
So, all right. So then not too much left with that. We'll just go over these quick. The tracker for the first round signings. Jalen Carter, your guy, got signed pretty quickly, man. He's already signed. So I think there's about 9 or 10 people already signed. Paris Johnson of the Arizona. You don't have to put it up. I'll just say it real quick unless you want to just put it while I'm talking. Paris Johnson of the Cardinals, pick number 6, signed. Tyree Wilson, pick number 7 for the Raiders, signed. Bijan Robinson, pick number 8 for the Falcons, signed. Jalen Carter, number 9 for the Eagles, signed. Great job. Mm-hmm. Jackson Smith and Jigba, number 20 was signed by Seattle. Quentin Johnson, the LA Chargers, 21. Dalton Kincaid, Buffalo, 25. He's the guy that scares me the most out of all the first-round picks. I think he's going to end up being the best out of this draft. Mazzie Smith from Dallas. There you go. You got your guy, Matt. And then Miles Murphy, also number 28. And then also I think just signed yesterday was Darnell Wright for Chicago and Anton Harris of Jacksonville, 10 and 27 respectively. I think Breezy might have signed as well.
I think he did.
I think he might have just signed maybe this morning or late last night. So we might want to add that one as well. So you still got to sign your number 30, Caleb. But how did we talked a little bit about it, but now that we're talking about that, things are starting to come into focus a little bit. You got to love what you guys did this draft week. I know we already touched on it, but
I think we won the draft. Like in
by
my
far,
opinion.
not even close.
It depends. If you're a Texan fan, you could argue for the Texans as well. You know what I mean?
Well, but I think this is
where we were in the freaking Super Bowl last year. Yeah. We shouldn't have been able to get Jalen Carter. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a
you should have been happy with Nolan Smith, and then that was it.
Yeah, like we made out. So I'm excited to see. But again, this is why I love the NFL. It's the same reason why I love the UFC. Fighting in football, you could have everything on paper. It doesn't matter until you step on the field till those cleats hit the AstroTurf or that grass, or until the feet hit the octagon and they close that gate behind you. Like all that stuff don't matter until you in there. And so we look fantastic, but I've seen that before. So they got to prove it. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see it. I think we look good. But I've seen stranger things have happened. So I'm gonna keep myself humbled and be ready. But I love the sport. I can't wait for this season. Like I'm excited to see. I want to see Aaron do good. I love Aaron Rodgers. I want to see him do well. So I'll de facto root for Jets when they're not playing my boys. You know what I mean? Like
we appreciate.
To be honest, I hate the Cowboys, but I don't want to see Dak just fail. Like I want to see him be competitive. I want to see him do good. I want to see CeeDee Lamb ball out. I like that young brother. I do. You know what I mean? I like Micah Parsons. I want to see I'm a fan of the game. You know what I mean? So I'm excited. I want to see Mahomes ball. I want to see Cool Joe challenge him. Like I want to see Josh Allen wave his hand and say, "Don't forget about me. I'm here." You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I love. So I'm hopefully this season everybody balls out and every game has you like this. That's what I would really want. So, we shall see.
There we go. So what do we got left? We still have Tom Brady in talks to join the Raiders as a limited partner. Matt, how do you feel about this? I don't get too surprised because this actually been talked about before. I think it would only be like 4% or something like that he would own. But is this the first step to him becoming an owner, a majority owner somewhere, do you think?
Well, I mean, maybe you need a lot of fucking money for that, and he ain't got that.
Well,
you need fucking.
He did sign for $375 million for the TV rights. So, but then I guess he can't do both, right? Because that'll be both.
If the Commanders went for $6 billion,
could
you imagine what the Raiders would be?
Mm-hmm. Raiders would probably be about 8 or 9.
Yeah, it's not going to be. I don't see that, but I mean, it's good to have him as a part of it. Him being part of the league is better.
Would you rather see him as an owner, Abby, or as a broadcaster?
Well, he's going to do both, isn't he?
I don't think he can do both.
I don't think he can do both.
I think
they said he could, like,
as
legally.
a limited partner, he can be. If he's any more than a limited partner, he's not allowed to be. I believe that's the rule.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want – well, because obviously we play the Raiders this year. I don't want them in their ears at all, giving him any advice.
Yeah, right. Stay out of it.
I mean, I would like to see him kind of more on TV, just step into that different role because he's got a good media presence. He always has, you know what I mean? And he's played the game so long. He's one of the best players the game has ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think his analysis breakdowns would be really good. And especially for like AFC East games, these are all teams that he's like faced, you know what I mean? But I mean, he's faced every team on a bunch of different players, but I mean, I would like to see him on TV.
For me, I would love to see him be the Magic Johnson of the NFL. Like I would love to see him owning things and being a more than a limited partner, like a major stakeholder. And like, because of who he is, billionaires will get behind him, be like, you be the face and we'll give you $8 billion to buy the team. And like that's what they do with Magic. Magic don't have the money.
Or even Michael. I'm sure Michael got help too.
Right. But he gets it because he's Magic freaking Johnson. Mm-hmm. He's the king of LA. You know what I mean? No disrespect to LeBron, but LeBron's not from here. Neither was Magic, but Magic basically made LA his home. So
he also grew up there to an extent.
But I think I would love to see Tom in that capacity because to me personally, I think Peyton Manning is a better on-air personality than Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. He's funnier. He's more witty. Peyton Manning is way better at that to me than Tom. Yes. Right? Tom's going to get his bag, but what I mean is I would rather see Tom owning. Like, I think with him having more control, like Tom Brady will be a fantastic GM. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like he's like one of those guys. I don't know, just in my opinion. But we shall see. But nobody's gonna leave 300 and plus 75 on the table.
The way I see it with them too is because I think they're both fantastic in front of the camera. I see more as Peyton Manning more as the comedic kind of a guy, and Tom Brady more of like the cool, like Tom Brady's like the Tom Cruise kind of guy in front of the camera. And and I think the other one
though, man, he can be really funny.
He can be but I think that's what makes him funny sometimes is when he does it and you don't expect him to be because he's kind of more of like the cool Tom. Peyton is just funny whenever you see him on TV. He's always gonna make you laugh. I mean, one of my favorite SNL skits of all time was him doing the Big Brothers of America thing where we teach him how to break into a car. But that's my point.
So he can be funny and then he's a football savant.
Yes. Yeah. His football
Tom Brady isn't a better savant than Peyton Manning discussing breaking down a game. No. Agreed. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's like, that big of a difference. Like, hell no. Tom won more. You know what I mean? But shit, Peyton is just as brilliant of a savant football mind as Tom is. You know what I mean? And with the comedic personality.
He's quicker with the comedic.
Comedy changes everything. Comedy makes everything okay.
It definitely does.
If it's funny, it's okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so.
Vikings to trade, which not two trades, they did trade, but Zadarius Smith to Cleveland. How much more potent does it make that Cleveland defense, Matt?
A lot more. Go ahead. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cleveland was not very good rushing the passer last year, so that's really going to help Myles Garrett out. So I think it's a good move. Good move.
So who do you block? How do you determine who to block? I mean, obviously you got to block them both, but there's someone that's going to be
getting a double team.
Someone's getting a double team. Someone's going to be free to run wild.
Myles Garrett's getting the double team.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Question. But I don't know if you can stop Zadarius Smith with a single team. It really depends on who's playing on the other side of him, I guess, really. So it's going to make him even better. And there's going to be a third player that's going to benefit. We don't know who that third player will be yet, but there's going to be a third player somewhere else on that line or one of those linebackers they're going to send on a blitz and there's going to be nobody to touch him. So you're going to see a lot of, I think, potential. And that's why I was saying with the Browns scaring me late in the season against the Jets. Listen, it gets cold. Players get hurt later in that season, man. I don't want to see Rodgers get planted into the ground by one of these guys because someone breaks free. Because how do you block them all? Caleb, how much? I know you already said it. How much better does this make our defense? Our defense, the Browns defense.
I think it makes it significantly better because one of the things that people underestimate is the threat of something, right? That you don't have to necessarily do it, right? I always use football and fight analogies, but it's like the threat of the takedown in UFC, if somebody knows you're good on the ground, makes them put their hands, like they don't know where to put their hands because they're defending strikes and the takedown. So if you're thinking this guy is only blitzing and then he drops in coverage, that's an interception or at least a defended ball. Like, you see what I mean? Just the threat makes the offense have to think. And in football, and like in fighting, it's split seconds, nanoseconds that you have to make the right decision. That's why Michael Parsons was so potent in his first 2 seasons in the NFL because the threat of the rush, because he can get there, but he also could threat back up and pick you off. You see what I mean? Yep. Like, I'm telling you, that keeping them off balance is going to be the key. With that linebacker. So if the Browns defensive coordinator knows how to utilize that with the threat of we coming to get you, it's nasty.
It also makes that secondary better because the secondary is going to have quarterbacks are not going to have as much time to throw, and they're going to make mistakes, and that secondary is going to be able to get a little bit, break up more passes, get more interceptions because that ball is going to come out sooner than it's supposed to be before that receiver is ready for it.
They don't have time to read the defense. They actually 100%. Can't tell what you're in.
Let me tell you something. You know what? This is a weak division. I feel like Cincinnati obviously is all world. They're Super Bowl contenders every year. But Steelers, I don't know if Steelers are going to be completely back yet.
They're rebuilding.
And the Ravens, even though I know they added OBJ and they're bringing back the quarterback Lamar, they're still, I feel like, a piece or two away from being solid contenders.
Okay, that new rookie wide receiver.
I like him a lot too. I get it.
I've been watching his stuff.
He's
that
electric.
Is nasty. Like, again, it's the threat. You forget.
Oh, you still got to cover him.
Lamar Jackson back there. Mm-hmm. You know he can take it to the house any play. It don't even have to be a designed run. You just defended everybody, and then he takes off, right? Like, that threat is that's the stuff that keeps defenses off, like they can't commit.
You know what it is with Baltimore for me is I need to see Baltimore do it late in the year. I need to see Baltimore be tough in December and January. Until that happens, I'm feeling like I'm not really sold on them yet, and that's really all it is. And it's going to take a little bit of time.
But you were talking about in the season. In the season, they're usually always good. They're usually
good until like mid-November, and then they slide a little bit, and then sometimes they came back into the playoffs.
It's going to be interesting to see how Deshaun Watson comes back this year. He's had a couple of years off. He was rusty last year. All that's done now.
Yeah, he has no excuses this year.
It's going to be a big thing for him. And if he balls out, the AFC East is going to. I mean, the AFC. What's that? North. The AFC North is going to be nasty.
The only team I think, and listen, and we know Tomlin. We know Tomlin always overachieves with his teams. Where if he's got a 7-win team, they're going to win 9. If he's got a 5-win team, they're going to win 7. Thing is I don't think their roster is constructed for him to still win a lot. I think he'll overachieve with them. I think he'll win some games that you don't expect them to win, but I still don't think they're going to be tough enough to where they're going to be a danger to at the end of the year. But the Browns could really take advantage of that and of the fact that maybe it's going to take Baltimore a little bit of time to kind of get, like, you talk about being rusty. Lamar might be rusty too. Let's face it, he's missed a lot of games over the last few years. He's got a new receiver he doesn't have a connection with right now. Zay Flowers, who I do agree will be fantastic, but he's going to have a learning curve as a rookie. I like that defense, but there are some question marks on the offense. Even though they have the names on paper to really succeed, I think it's still going to take them a little bit. And then you just hope that they can kind of maintain it on those parts of the year where they're usually not that good. So I'm not completely sold on Baltimore yet. I could be easily swayed, but right now I'm not completely sold on them yet. I think it's an opportune time, and like you called it, Caleb, if that quarterback is ready to take the next step, that team could be really dangerous this year. That's why I'm scared to play them so late in the season. It's cold. The weather's gonna be bad. We have an older quarterback. That's a team that scares me at the end of the regular season, like how we got them. I think what we played them like week 17, Abby.
Yeah.
So that's
right before the Pats.
Right before the second to last game of the season.
Well, hopefully you guys. Well, hopefully you don't have to worry about it. Hopefully Aaron is not even playing that game. Hopefully you guys are already in, and you're resting your starters.
If I have him in my fantasy football league, he better be playing. So, all right. So on to the next. Orlando emerges as a possible temporary home for the Jaguars during stadium renovation. At least it's not London, right? I think Orlando would be a fantastic place for a actual franchise.
That's what they're trying to do.
I know. If they spoke to a couple of people down there.
They want to move out of Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Orlando could? Do you think it's it's like Vegas, it's a touristy town?
If Orlando players, if the citizens of Orlando show up, they're gonna come. I promise you that. That's why they're testing it out. Oh, this is being renovated. Let's see. They're testing. They're putting their toe in the water to see if it's cool.
It's a viable situation other than London.
Yep.
Because
that makes sense.
We can say what we want. Like, London's not a viable option for them long term, right? There's a lot of talk about them. Oh, they're going to be the new London team. If there's a London team, that's not viable, is it, Matt?
Well, viable. It's going to happen.
Do you really? We think. Wait. Show of hands. We all think there's going to be a London team eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Really? I don't think.
Not anytime soon.
The league wants it so bad. The league wants it so bad. It's going to happen.
Let me tell you something. It'd be almost impossible to get free agents there.
No, it won't.
I without the idea of being cool to live in London, I think it will be, because you're going to be at a. How are you going to go from London all the way to LA to have to play?
Because what they'll do is
you board a plane, and that's what takes you
there. I know, but that's a long. That's a lot of
Gene,
travel.
what they'll do is they'll bring them here half the season, so they'll play all their home games for 3 months straight. Then their road game, like I'm telling you, that's what
That's the only way it would work. And my problem with that is that's the problem. I don't like that idea. I don't listen. It shouldn't. We shouldn't. They shouldn't get special treatment for how they do their home and away games because they're so far out. That means we just don't put a team there. I get what you're saying. I get how you're saying that's how they would do it and that's how it would work. But that's not fair to the other team. So they get 8 home games in a row, and now I got a battle where I might have 3 road games in a row. No,
but they also got 8 road games in a row too.
But that's not fair either. Like that's
they'll go in chunks to be like a month at a time, right?
If you do like 3 home, 3 away, 3 home, you can kind of a little bit there.
Listen, but I just think it's gonna happen. The league wants it.
I agree.
The league makes so much money, so I think your argument is irrelevant.
Listen, it is. Listen, the league's gonna do what it's gonna do. I get it. 100%. I think. All right. So then, different question. Do you think the league should put a team in? Do you want to see a team in London, based on the fact that it would be an pain in the ass? To everybody.
I don't care if there's one in London or not. It's not a big deal to me.
Now, I'll tell you where I think they should put one. If you want to put one in another country, put one in Canada. Give Vancouver. Listen, Matt, you're in Vancouver. You would love to see football every week, no?
Be nice. Put a nice stadium, like right on the water, kind of down around the corner.
Give Matt a team. Or
that
Mexico
would be
City.
nice.
Or Mexico City. Mexico City sells out like crazy every time someone goes down there to play every few years. I don't know why they didn't do it again this year. They should have had a Mexico City game this year.
Because Mexico's got a lot of problems.
That's right.
But you know what? Maybe bringing NFL money might help the country a little bit. Who knows?
They don't need NFL money.
They got their cartel
money.
They got a different type of money down there.
But that money's not being. But that money, let's face it, that money's not making it through the rest of the country the right way. NFL money will.
I got what you're saying.
I feel like the cartel will find a way to get the NFL.
Yeah, the next thing you know, the quarterback would get.
Next thing you know, there's all of a sudden a new owner of this team in Mexico.
El Chapo is the new owner of.
He only wears ostrich skin hat.
If one of you see Narcos, you found out there a lot of those cartel guys in Colombia owned soccer teams, pro soccer.
That's my point.
The Cali cartel owned one. Who was the guy that Luis Guzman played? I can't think of his name in real life.
The 2 Escobars?
No, well, that was the other ones that killed the guy for.
Was that the Cali cartel one?
No, the guy. Who was the guy? Luis Guzman played him in Narcos. I'm blanking on the guy. He was actually a gem dealer at one point, and then upgraded to cocaine. And
as you do.
I'm rewatching Queen of the South, so I'm like, that's kind of like the same.
Get on Narcos, Abby. You're missing out. But guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the show this week. So we want to thank Brandon J. McLaren for stopping by. And let's go around the horn with our last words. Abby, last words of the day.
Wait for a second, Caleb. Why does it say Capricorn?
Because he's a Capricorn, man.
Oh, I'm an Aquarius. So funny.
Wait, you want to hear something even funnier? So we found out last week. So Caleb, when's your birthday again? January 2nd?
January the 3rd.
January the 3rd. January the 2nd was Nigel Downer. And then January the 5th was Allie from Monday on Mondays.
Oh, how funny.
And I'm the only one.
Central, Capricorn Lane.
I got all these Capricorns. I'm the only Scorpio on that episode. So there we go.
And I'm February, so.
Matt, when are you?
It is.
I'm the rarest month to be born in.
I'm with Abby. I'm February 5th.
I'm 11.
Yeah. My father is the 10th. My father.
Yeah,
is
thanks
the 10th.
for the birthday present, Gene.
Well, I didn't know. I just found out.
No waiting on it, bro.
It's in the mail, but you know how that US mail is.
Yeah.
And there's customs.
Customs.
It'll be there. It'll be there.
Yeah.
But
one more thing on that topic. The Super Bowl's going to be on my birthday weekend, literally every single year now that they added another week. So
and it's off mine.
Yeah. So if the Jets win a Super Bowl, it'll literally be the best birthday ever.
Wow. There you go. So Abby, last words of the day.
It's random. It's getting really hot here in Phoenix, so I just encourage people to drink your water. I mean, we're all constantly drinking every single liquid as we're recording. Drink your water because, like I said, it's getting over 100 degrees already. So I think drinking water improves your physical health, your mental health. everything. So many benefits. So
it makes you have to ask for commercial breaks a little bit more often because you got to Peter on the show. So I'm trying.
I had to go, Dre. I was like, I can't wait.
The other day I had to stop, and then Caleb had the nerve to ask me, do I have to go 1 or 2? I said it was 1. Don't worry, it's just I'll be quick. Matt, last words of the day.
Last words. I don't have any like sage advice. I'm just gonna go Blue Jays.
Go Blue Jays. And I say don't go Blue Jays, but that's not my last words. Caleb, what's your last words of the day?
I'm gonna agree with Abby. Stay hydrated, my friends. Stay hydrated in this summer. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
There you go. And my last words is go Aaron Judge, who's hit about 1 million home runs that series. And guys, have a great today and better tomorrow. We'll see you on Friday.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.